Now inside of Valve's latest update, they created a huge opportunity for making a ton of guaranteed profit. Not only are we talking about the Armory, but also the brand new drop pool and all the different ways you can make money. Now starting with the Armory, it's probably quite simple. If you've got $16, you can go ahead and get your hands on a pass. Obviously more passes is going to be more beneficial, especially when we look at the Armory ROIs. This is over on CS ROI. It's going to be giving you the Armory breakdown of the return you're going to get if you were to spend all of your stars on a said item over a long period of time, obviously. And you can see right now there's not really too much that's profitable. Instead, we're going to pivot to the Fever case. Right now, we're about 2 weeks after release, and the Fever case is still extremely expensive. It's going to be the perfect opportunity. Now, you're going to have to wait a week from the time you actually redeem it to being able to actually sell it on the market, but it's most likely going to be your best option. I would highly suggest you compare it with the CS ROI data, see what's exactly is going on, and make sure you're using the most optimal way for your stars to make the most amount of profit. Now, this is the most straightforward of the three, but there's a lot more opportunities to come. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with their exclusive new reward system with a reward of up to $50 today when you're using code MASTER. They have mastered the skins game, offering one of the largest selections of skins if you're looking to trade out your old ones, one of the best rates in the market if you're trying to sell off instantly, and it's completely safe. And they've got their own buying page, which is offering a massive 40% discount on every single skin they have. So what are you waiting for? Claim your exclusive up to $50 rewards by using code MASTER on SkinSwap. Now breaking down everything to know for the brand new drop pool. Now the new drop system is actually very similar to the old drop system, except we've got some brand new items coming in. First up, if you're looking to get a case, you're going to be getting a case as one of your 4 items. Whenever you level up, get that 5,000 XP, you get to choose between 4 items. One of them is always going to be a case, and you're most likely going to be choosing that case because they are extremely expensive. They're actually one of the highest price points we've ever seen right now, especially if you get that Dreams and Nightmares. That's over $2. But if we want to talk about it, you got a 99% chance to get one of these 5 cases right here. You've got a 1% chance to get something extremely expensive, such as a Bravo case or in Weapons 1. However, that's all been the exact same as what we saw previously. The biggest change that we've seen now is going to be the fact that the 8 active collections has changed. For the first time in about 7 years, we're actually getting 3 brand new collections. That's the Boreal, Ascent, and the Radiant. Now, these are extremely expensive right now, and they are going to drop down a little bit in value, but they're going to maintain a fair amount of this value for a significant amount of time, and that's where the huge profit opportunity comes in for this. If you look at your items, when you get dropped these 4 items, 1 or 2 is usually going to be a skin. Right now, you've got about a 50-50 chance of those skins being from one of these 3 collections, and honestly, as long as you don't get a gray skin, you're probably going to be walking away with a decent amount of value. The blue skins are averaging like $3 to $4, which is about 4 times higher than we've ever seen inside of any collection that's been actively dropping. It's a huge profit opportunity, especially in the short term here, because these prices are probably going to slowly decrease, but there's a huge opportunity. If you're just grinding out the game, you're going to be able to get a ton of value from this, and you're going to be able to transition that value into more money-making methods. Now, everything after this is not going to be guaranteed profit, but rather significant odds to actually profit. First up, talking about the older collections that were removed. There were 4 removed collections, and these are now becoming a very limited quantity. Obviously, no more of them can be created, and therefore, because they are extremely valuable in one sense, they're probably going to appreciate in value, and that's filler skins. Now, the way filler skins work is quite simple. Take, for example, these light blue skins from the Train collection, which was one of the ones that just got removed. There's only 2 blue outcomes inside of it. Compare that to everything else in the game, which has at least 3 or more. Because there's only 2 blue outcomes for these Train collections specifically, you're going to be able to put these with other light blue skins that have a lot more outcomes. Those are going to skew your odds to get you a better opportunity to get something from the other collection. Therefore, these are extremely valuable filler skins, because if you've got a collection that's significantly more expensive than the Train collection, odds are you want an outcome from that. Therefore, you're going to be using filler skins to increase your odds. Now, the opportunity for profit here is going to be investing in these specifically. If you want to look at the light blue skins, they have obviously shot up in price. People have realized that they are discontinued, and there are no alternatives inside of this area, which is a huge opportunity when we're looking for profit. I would definitely say it seems like the prices have leveled out. If you want to keep these as a long-term investment, theoretically they should not be going down. Obviously in the short term that's very possible they might, but if we want to talk about the blue skins as well, it's a little bit more of a muddy water. That's because there are 6 collections you can use, 4 of which have discontinued, but 2 of which are still in the active dropping pool. Therefore, you have a little bit more leeway if you're trying to get something at a cheaper price point, but you got to remember there's alternatives here, so it's not going to be as quick or as simple of a profit because you've got other options. Now, because of the way this specific situation has worked out, there's a huge opportunity right now if you want to get some free money over a long period of time, and that's with Tradeups. Now, we traditionally talk about Tradeups being that they have to go and fit some sort of criteria. Usually you've got to get a certain amount of items under a certain price point at a certain float, and that's not necessarily different here, but it's a much easier opportunity because of the way things have worked out for these filler skins. If we want to look at something like the Italy collection, we can see how obvious this is. The MP7 and a nice navy is selling for $1.70, and we can see that it's a very easy trade up to do. If we grab 10 field tested light blue skins and actually get a relatively decent float, relatively attainable is 0.233, and that's just 10 field tested skins, we can also get a Glock candy apple in factory new. Sawed off's going to be coming in minimal wear, but you can see how much profit is able to be made, and this is not even using a buy order. 10 cents is the market value for these skins. If you want to use a buy order, you can make even more money on this, and this number right here is after Steam tax if you were to sell them directly back to the market. I would highly suggest you check out the other 3 collections, see if you can find any profitable trade ups there, because people are so interested in the filler skins, they're not looking at the inputs to make these filler skins. It's a huge opportunity. It's not going to last forever, but it's going to be here for at least a little bit. Now, there's one huge problem you're probably going to run into, and that's if you try to do trade ups for these brand new collections that just came in, specifically the Boreal, the Ancient, or the Radiant. You're going to be running into the 1 week delay. You've got a 1 week cooldown from the time you do the trade up to the time you can actually sell the item. Now, when we're talking about these filler skins, it's actually not too big of a deal because I expect these prices to be relatively stable, except when we're talking about these brand new collections. They're not stable just yet. They are on a decreasing trajectory, and therefore it's probably not going to be worth it to try and do a trade up from these. Even if it does actually seem like you're going to make profit from the trade up, the odds that these skins drop 10 or 15% is not too unlikely, and therefore you could end up losing money by the time you actually get to sell the skin just because of how it's dropped. Now, talking about investing is going to be the biggest opportunity we have. First up, you need to invest into something called Prime. It's going to be $15, and it's going to allow you to get those drops. You probably already have it, and it's going to be one of the more worthwhile. Honestly, the Armory Pass right now is probably going to be the best thing you can use your money on. Obviously, it is going to drop down in price as we see the fever case decline in overall value, but right now it's a huge opportunity, and I think it would honestly be foolish to pass it up for anything else. Now, those are very active ways of investing, meaning you're going to have to be involved. If you're looking for something more passive, rare cases are going to be the huge opportunity. That's because they make up 1% of the drop pool, as we mentioned earlier, meaning that comes out to like 500 or 1,000 cases per day, which is extremely low when you compare to the fact that there are tens of thousands of every individual case opened every single day. Talking about some of these cheaper rare cases, your Prismas, your Danger Zones, your CS20, these cases have a far outpaced demand than the supply. You can see it in a graph like this. The red line is how many cases are being unboxed. The blue, very small at the bottom, is how many are being dropped every single day. We are theoretically going to run out of these cases, which is why the price point has continued to go up, and I don't think there's going to be anything really stopping it from continuing this trend. Obviously, the prices have increased, but so has the overall demand, and that's why we're left with 40 million cases in the past month being unboxed. Now, if you want my personal strategy on how to profit, if you've got a smaller budget, definitely grind out these Armory passes and make sure you're getting your weekly drop, and then store away money inside of these passive investing options like rare cases. Over time, you're going to be able to build this up and create it a much larger opportunity than if you were just straight up saving your money. This is going to be the best way to try and get the knife or whatever you're after inside of this area. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.